In section 6.6, we'll look at identifying geometric sequences. That's really just another name for an exponential pattern, which we've done before. Exponential patterns are multiply or divide to get your pattern. We call that a common ratio. Like in here, they're multiplying by 5 in this pattern, so that's our common ratio. In the past, we've looked at linear patterns, or what we call arithmetic, and those are adding and subtracting. Both of these patterns have to be the same number each time. If you notice here, they're multiplying by 5 the same time on each one. Okay? So let's see here. Decide whether each sequence is arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Well, let's just discover the pattern. 120 to 60 to 30 to 15. They could be subtracting, but it'd be all different numbers that you'd be subtracting. How about instead they're dividing by 2, which would make it geometric. Here, let's see, what are they doing? Adding 4, then adding 5, then adding 6. They're definitely not multiplying consistently, like times it by 3. It is adding, however, it's not the same number. It's changing the number, so this is an example of neither. In these situations, we just want to write the next 3 terms. They already give us a clue that it's geometric, so they have to be multiplying or dividing. Here we can look at the pattern and see that they are multiplying by 2. So let's just find the next 3 terms. So 24 times 2 would give you 48. And then times that by 2 to get 96, times 2 to get 192. This one's interesting because it's getting smaller, first of all, so it's got to be dividing, and it's changing from positive to negative. So it's actually dividing by -4. If you divide by -4, you get -16. Divide by -4, you get +4, and so on. So it goes back and forth. If we find the next 3 terms, take the -1, divide by -4, that make +1/4. You can also use a decimal format, 0.25, but fractions are preferred. If you divide that by -4, you get -1/16, and then divide that by -4 to get 1/64. There's also a rule that we can use to actually come up with a formula to find a new term. So they'll say write an equation for the nth term. As we saw with arithmetic patterns, we're just trying to figure out a certain formula so we can find any term we want. You could see it written either way. Notice the same components, just some use G, especially for the EOC, and some use A. Okay, clever, and this book tend to use A, but some other things like the EOC use G. Same idea. We need the first term, G1 or A1 is referring to the first term, and the R is your common ratio, what you're multiplying by. So let's check this one out. 3 to 12 to 48 to 192, well that's just multiplying by 4. So that's my R. And I already know the first term is 3, so I can get a formula pretty easy. AN is equal to 3 parentheses 4 to the n minus 1. There's my formula. I can even check it if I wanted to. Like, for example, the second term should be 12. So if I plug in 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, 4 to the first is 4, times 3 gives me 12. You can always check your formula. Now there's a follow-up question. Find A10, or it could be G10. That's asking you to find the 10th term. So I could keep multiplying by 4 until I get to the 10th number, or just plug 10 in. So plug 10 in there, do the powers first. Don't multiply first. Remember, powers before multiply. So do 4 to the 9th times 3, or put all that in your calculator. You should get 786,432. All right, here's a couple you can try out on your own, specifically looking at 8 and 10 because they're kind of unique. Again, we just want to find an equation. So this one is multiplying by -5. That's the pattern. So it would be an equals 1. That's my first term. And -5 to the n minus 1 power. Find A8, so find the 8th term. So I just need to plug in 8 right here. 8 minus 1 is 7. And then do the math, and you should get an 8th term of -78,125. You feel free to do these other ones. This one here in particular I want to look at because it's actually dividing by 6. We can't write divide by 6 in parentheses like we could with times by 5. So what we do is we write it as a fraction, 1/6. I still need my first term, 1/6, and then n minus 1. And then to find A8, just plug 8 in. 8 minus 1 is 7. Use your calculator and you should get this answer. That's all there is to it.